Hi, my name's Dr. Ross Hauser. Welcome to the Hauser Neck Center here in Fort Myers, Florida, here with a beautiful young lady who you were really distraught when you first came in. Like you were really nervous and anxious and let me ask you this, like your POTS that you were diagnosed before I saw you, had you ever had to go to the emergency room for it?
I hadn't. I at first didn't know what I had going on.
Yeah.
I thought it may have been a part of the being on the liquid diet and just low blood sugar and that sort of thing.
So you tried to treat it nutritionally first.
I did, and it didn't go away.
What symptom were your disabling symptoms that you were having?
Well, I was lightheaded, felt like I was going to pass out when I would stand up. Blood pressure was dropping for sure. Would see black, would see spots.
So you almost passed out.
I almost passed out multiple times. Okay. Yeah. And very, very foggy. The brain fog was insane.
Okay.
It was just really bad. So, and no energy.
And then had you seen a bunch of doctors before I saw you?
I've seen a lot of doctors. I've seen GI specialists, many of them, regular doctors, a neurologist.
Did you ever see a cardiologist?
I did not.
Okay.
No.
Okay. And then why did you end up coming to Caring Medical?
So my POD symptoms got really bad towards the end of last year, to the point I couldn't drive. In fear of passing out while I was driving my kids around. I couldn't do anything really day to day. It was a real struggle. So my husband and I started researching, trying to see if we could get to the bottom of what was going on. And then he sent me a video of you, and every single symptom that you touched on was everything I had going on. And it was finally something I just knew I had to come here because you understood what I thought I had going on.
Did you think after you saw the videos, Christina, did you think that the neck might play a role? Like, were you having some neck symptoms? Or you were having, was your neck clicking?
Before. So I've had neck issues throughout, but I never related that because remember from the start, my issues were GI issues.
Yeah, well,
so I never connected the two.
What was the main GI issues you were having?
Not being able to eat solid food, feeling like it was all sitting in my chest. Yeah, so I was struggling with that really bad. Ended up switching to a liquid diet.
That's why you did the liquid.
Yeah, and then
did you lose a bunch of weight?
I did. I've lost about 25 pounds. So I've struggled, done pretty good because for how long it's been that I've been on a liquid diet, but I started leaning towards that because I was doing some research on what could cause all of my GI issues that were so undiagnosed. And then I came across a video from you about the vagus nerve and how it can cause GI issues and the deviated uvula and how to test for that.
Oh, you had a deviated?
And I had a deviated uvula. It kind of keyed me into that. But at that time, I still hadn't seen the rest of your videos or anything. I went to the neurologist, I brought it up, and he had no idea about the vagus nerve and said, you have POTS, let's worry about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how were they going to treat the POTS?
Medication, which I initially, of course, said no to because I don't. I knew there was an underlying cause of the POTS, and I don't do medications. So I wanted to figure that out.
And I don't know you that well because I've only seen you twice.
Yes.
So you're doing. So I appreciate you doing this video, even though I've only seen you twice. So you've only had 2 treatments of prolotherapy. So we obviously diagnosed you with significant cervical instability. Then we had you do a modified barium swallow study where we saw that you had achalasia or a problem with the nervous system of your esophagus, which is why you were saying like it's not getting stuck here, it's like getting stuck up here. Like, so your esophagus isn't contracting so good. And then what was it like getting prolotherapy?
The first one was a little scary because I didn't know what to expect.
Of course, yeah.
The second one was much better. But, I mean, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And I feel like I got some real results after the first treatment. I think that in combination with the exercises that I was taught to do, no more POTS symptoms, which I'm so excited about.
So why don't we go through again? So literally within a month, you went from you can't drive your kids and you're dizzy all the time and you're almost going to pass out all the time.
Yes.
So how were you feeling?
I would say within 2 weeks after the first treatment, and again, doing the exercises and doing the brain drain, which was huge for me, I think. My eye pressure was back to normal. My cranial pressure was down. Like, my POD symptoms were gone. And
so the dizziness went
so
away?
So much better. Dizziness went away.
Can you drive or not yet?
Yep, I'm driving.
Oh, you've been driving the kids?
I had a small episode after my second treatment, and I think that has contributed to travel, not being able to drain my brain the way I usually do, not being able to do the exercises for a few days after treatment. I think that has a lot to do with it. But other than that, I haven't had any other issues. It's
so the tachycardia and the lightheadedness, that pretty much has resolved, except for the little bit with the travel.
Yes.
And then, no, that's great. Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, day to day,
so your quality
huge
of life
difference.
is way, way better.
Way better.
And you and I had talked about when you get gastroparesis or achalasia, you know, the vagus nerve has to repair quite a bit for those things to get better. So we're still working on that.
Yes.
So do you have anything to say to anybody who might think like, geez, like I didn't know like you could get so much better from PODS?
Don't give up.
Okay.
Don't give up and keep trying, because it is debilitating. I feel for everyone that suffers with that. I really struggled through that. I've been able to push through everything else for a lot of years of no answers with my GI symptoms, but I couldn't push through that. It was really hard.
So you probably, a lot of the day, you probably were laying down, right?
I had to, which was really hard for me because I'm not a lay down kind of person.
You're a doer.
My husband and I fought a little bit about that one. I didn't like staying on the couch. I didn't like having to lay down, but I had to, because every time I got up, But
now you're up most of the day.
Yeah, no, all day.
That's great.
Doing really, really well.
No, that's good.
Other than the GI symptoms, I know that's going to take a while, but the POD symptoms, huge difference.
Great.
Yeah, it's really exciting. But I do think it has everything to do with doing the exercises, doing the prolotherapy, and also doing the, you guys did the test to tell me what my optimal position was, for the drainage and everything. Yeah. And I think that was huge.
So you actually were compliant when I said, like, you should spend, like, when you do rest during the day, you got to be in a certain position.
Yes. For me, it's on my right side with my head tilted up, and so that's where I'm at for 5 minutes.
Just out of curiosity, when you've obviously been trying to sleep that way, do you feel like your sleep's more restful?
I do. I feel like that's a little better. It took me a little bit to get used to it, but I think it's gotten better now.
That's good.
Yeah. Yep.
We just so much appreciate you sharing your story.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.